Hi, everybody. Welcome back for another dispatch. We're going to continue with the David Hockney and his exploration of Ong drawing portraits. And I'm going to pick up from where we were. All right. So, where is this? The camera lucida. It's a very simple device, quite small, really just a prism. But it enabled me to place the eyes, nose, and mouth very accurately. I then drew from direct observation. This is Richard Schmidt, 401. This is Hockney talking about his experience of using the camera lucida. Okay. Hockney had always shied away from drawing people he did not know well and had long refused to take on commissions even from eminent sitters, concerned that when drawing an unfamiliar face, too much struggle would be involved simply in capturing a likeness. With the camera lucida to help him establish the position of the eyes, nose, and mouth in the first few minutes, he was able to move on almost immediately to direct observation, secure in the knowledge that naturalistic accuracy would be assured. We are recording. Yes, we are. Yes, we have noise. Okay. The first camera lucida drawing by Hockney, the portrait of Richard Schmidt, was made on March 29th, 1999. Since learning how to exploit the instrument to best effect was not at all easy, he remarked that his assessment of Ong's probable use of it in, quote, in no way diminishes anything for him, but on the contrary increased his already great admiration for the French artist's skill. Within weeks, he had become much more confident in using the instrument thanks to his daily practice and had become utterly, utterly convinced that he had been right in thinking that Ong had used such a tool for similar purposes and that it was nothing more than a measuring device that enabled artists to produce a very sure and accurate line. Lunches and By late May, he was producing extremely accomplished portraits, such as that of the publisher Stephen Stuart Smith, who's a that captures a person's appearance with such faithfulness and extreme concentration that one has the illusion not just of being physically confronted by that person, but of being able to read his mind through the specificity of expression, the signals of every gesture, and the state of tension within every facial muscle. With each passing week, the habit of such relentless scrutiny and of such close attention to detail pushed him towards ever greater demands on his powers of observation and manual skill. He was particularly excited by the lively quality introduced by such fleeting expressions as a half smile. In a portrait such as that as Jackie Stark, an image of such truthfulness and vitality emerges both from her facial expression and from the treatment of her wispy strands of hair and other defining features that viewers are easily persuaded they know her or would recognize her if they came upon her in a crowded room, an experience the author can corroborate from meeting her at a party many months later. An exhibition of Hockney's oil pastel studies of the Grand Canyon planned for the Anelli Judah Gallery in late June 1999 provided him with an opportunity to present a selection of 56 from the 100 or so camera lucida drawings he had produced since the end of May during his stay in London. Although it was too late to reproduce them or even mention them in the catalog, Hockney's text of June 29th for the gallery's press release has asserted the use of optics in drawings goes back at least to Holbein and Dürer. He recommended making the drawings with an instrument that he described as essentially a prism on a stick, through which you look with both eyes and can see an image and your pencil simultaneously. All you can use it for is measuring to capture subtle expressions. You cannot scrutinize a face through it. By the time Hockney returned to London in December 1999 to begin work on the National Gallery portraits, he had produced some 200 such drawings with the camera lucida. Having returned with such conviction to portraiture as a direct result of his love for Ingres drawings. After years of involvement with other subject matter, such including landscapes and near abstractions, stage design, and experimental media involving photography, digital imagery, and reproductive methods, he was ready to meet the challenge of drawing a group of strangers who had been selected on his behalf. He wished to draw the warders, I guess the guards, we would say here in America, rather than the board of trustees, as an earlier artist might have done, in large part because he knew they would be on duty in the very rooms where his drawings would be shown, offering the visitor an unparalleled opportunity for comparing the portrait with the actual person. He also liked the fact that they tended to be shy people whom others normally do not notice, since their job is to sit in a corner and observe the visitors without drawing attention to themselves. By nature, patient people, they were likely to make good models, able to sit for long periods, even though most of them had never been drawn before. Compounding the challenge to his own ability was his knowledge that he would be visiting London for only a short period and that every sitting, day after day, would have to result in a successful drawing. Hockney's intention was to produce a group of 6 portraits and to do so in the largest format he had yet chosen for his camera lucida drawings. There is a built-in limit to the size of image that can be produced with this device. The closer the subject sits to the artist, the larger the image. As soon as he began, he realized that the physical presence of the sitters would be heightened if there were more of them, at which point he settled on 12 as the optimum number, not so many that they become part of a crowd, but enough to call attention to the variety and individuality of each person. Virtually without exception, each figure is contained well within the borders of the sheet, emphasizing that he or she exists within his or her own sphere rather than in a shared space. Great care has also been taken to avoid giving the impression that the warders are in conversation or glancing at each other. The artist's only request to the National Gallery, whom he entrusted with the selection, was that they sent him the greatest possible variety of male and female sitters of different ages, races, and physical types. The National Gallery's head of security, John Campbell, invited one of the warders, Jack Kettleworth, himself a young artist, and his own assistant, Carolyn de Souza, to help him make the selections. The ratio of 1/3 women to 2/3 men, like the mixture of nationalities and ages from early 20s to mid 60s, accurately reflects the composition of the warding staff as a whole. Once selected, they met Hockney briefly, usually a day or so before being drawn, so he could get to know them a little, study their faces, their expressions, and their movements, just as Ong had done by having lunch with his prospective sitters in advance of the portrait session. All the drawings were made in Hockney's London studio, where the careful placement of the sitter under a strong overhead light, especially evident in the pronounced shadows under the nose and lips, helped him achieve a precise modeling of the features. It goes on. Well, maybe I'll pause there. It's good. There's a little bit more, but think we're gonna pause there. All right. Hope you're all well, hanging in there, making stuff, drawing, painting. All right. I'll get this out to you. Take care. You will. Bye-bye.